Hey guys, weekend energy update as we continue to move through our eclipse week. Friday into Saturday this weekend, we really are in a lot of the same vibes that we've been in all week. There is an exact Sun-Neptune opposition that is happening on Friday. That was an aspect that was really very involved in what was playing out with our full moon energy that we just had. The moon was in a conjunction to Neptune opposite the sun, and we have this energy coming exact this weekend. So all week we've really been in some kind of murky waters, sun opposite Neptune territory. We're going to be talking more about that today. And that grand earth trine that we've also been talking about, that was also playing a pretty big role in that full moon eclipse, is tightening this weekend as well as the sun continues to move through the sign of Virgo. And on Sunday, we do have our autumnal equinox coming in. The sun enters the sign of Libra, and it's actually setting us up for a big week of shifts coming at us next week. We will have three personal planets, the sun, Venus, and Mercury, all changing signs between Sunday and Thursday of the next week. That's definitely going to bring some vibe shifts. And we are moving towards Libra season, you guys, which is a cardinal cycle. And there are some things that are about to start happening. All that being said, we do have Neptune energy to talk about yet again today as well. Let's get into our report of the day, put it all together and see how things are looking for us as we head through the weekend and towards next week. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Friday, September 20th, 2024. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the weekend, where we are narrating the shift of the ages. In this video, we're going to talk about what's going on as we head through our weekend and what our setup is looking like for next week, which, as I've already stated, we're kind of in like more of the same until we're just not, and things really start to move or change quickly. Like I said, you know, we are moving towards come Sunday, which is interesting because that's also our equinox. It's interesting actually how the equinox chart itself is looking. Which, like, I personally like to look at the equinox, like equinox and solstice charts, because, you know, when we're dealing with astrology, natal charts and what's going on in any particular blueprint have a tendency of being quite revealing in the context of the period of time that they represent. So I always feel like when we have a solstice or an equinox chart, the setup, what's going on with that particular solstice or equinox, can perhaps give us a glimpse of what is to come throughout the next 6 months associated with that particular portion of the year. So, you know, equinox to equinox or solstice to solstice. And I will say, and as we get through this report today, I will talk about it more, but it is looking like a 6 month period of time, which again, it's lining up with our eclipse cycles this year, and eclipses also represent 6 month periods of time that are usually about these like karmic endings and changes and transitions and just like big fated events and occurrences, like the hand of fate and the role of karma in our lives coming into play when we've got eclipses going on, right? But that also, I feel like, is a major kind of theme of what this particular autumnal to spring equinox is representing. And again, we will talk about it more as we get through this report, but like relationship dynamics, things to do with finances, value, money, you know, career, also could be justice, just peace, balance, harmony generally. Feminine energy again is it's being cleaned up somehow, and anything that is out of alignment with authentic value in those regards is probably not going to make it through this period of time. A lot of people are going to stop like sacrificing aspects of like various elements and aspects of themselves in order to attain certain like external results or to maintain certain external attachments. I feel like this is going to be a period of time of really sort of eliminating or breaking ourselves free from kind of like toxic attachments of all kinds, or ways that we have like things that we have valued or given like a false value in a way too that have actually diminished our own power in some type of way. It's also, of course, the flip side of that. And I've been talking about this as well. This is a period of time where people we're being like literally cosmically mandated to really take our power back. And anywhere that we have been being drained relationally or in the context of like, again, like sacrificing or surrendering or giving elements of ourselves away in order to receive some type of external validation or external support or external like monetary or material like possessions, this, that, the other, love even, like surrendering elements of ourselves to feel loved and connected and all of that. I mean, we are having a Black Moon Libra transit too. A lot of this is going to be finding its way out of our lives as we simultaneously rediscover things that are like much more valuable to us, and you know, the worth that we find and whatever it is that we realize through this period of time is really going to facilitate our ability to release ourselves from those things that have been draining our power and keeping us detached from that which would truly like be very fulfilling, rewarding, and make us feel whole and balanced and like properly integrated and like in a state of like inner peace and harmony on these deeper levels and stuff like that. So ultimately, I think the energy that we're moving into now is going to like lead us in that direction. However, there's just a lot, and you guys know, because it's not like it's kind of a continuation of the energy that we've been going through since this past August. I mean, that, and if you guys have been following my channel, you know what I'm talking about. We recently had a Black Moon South Node Venus conjunction in the sign of Libra. It could have really been putting us through it in the context especially of like other people and like financial situations, and this energy is kind of cycling back around. We're gonna get another opportunity to really sort of like face some of the fears or deal with some of the issues or the attachments that we've been holding on to that really have been holding us back. More blockages to growth along those same lines of maybe like what we've already experienced in the month of August are likely to be just a part of our experience again moving forward into the month of October, the way that the new moon in Libra energy is playing itself out as well, which, you know, I've also been saying I felt like this Libra season was going to be very significant also in terms especially of what's been going on with the South Node in Libra, and the South Node being with the Black Moon, which is all about ultimately now bringing in the whole like paradigm shift and our whole concept of narrating the shift of the ages here, a distortion in the feminine energy that has been preventing like true authentic growth and alignment with our cosmic expansion forward into the age of Aquarius right now. That whole theme and concept as well, that is what a lot of this is ultimately about. When we have this South Node in Libra going on with the Black Moon and all of these conjunctions happening like with these planets, and you know, the eclipse is going on, and also all this Piscean energy that is like dissolving the belief systems and stuff from the past. And you know, we may actually be like a little bit caught up in something like that on Friday as we start the weekend. We do, you know, as I mentioned in the beginning, have an exact opposition that is playing out between the Sun and Neptune. This is never the most like grounded energy. This could definitely have us just feeling a little bit out of it, maybe all week though also, because remember, our full moon that we just had a couple of days ago in the sign of Pisces was in a conjunction to Neptune in an opposition to the sun. So this was a defining characteristic of that full moon. It's therefore a defining characteristic of this 2-week period represented by this full moon cycle. And here we are on Friday, and we have the exact opposition of the Sun and Neptune that was bringing us that full moon, because obviously the moon and the sun, when they're in opposition, that's our full moon. So if the moon was in a conjunction to Neptune for the full moon, then the sun was in an opposition. Of course, it wasn't an exact opposition, but it was close enough. And today, again, on Friday, we have the exact Neptune Sun opposition. So again, you've probably been feeling it all week, maybe just like a little bit lower energy levels, kind of out of it. This is kind of like walking daydream energy. You might find yourself just kind of like zoning out. Things could be a little bit confusing. You might feel kind of like disoriented about things. Again, like nothing is really making sense. Drained, just like not your normal self. And it is a very good weekend though, as I was saying in my full moon report, or maybe I was saying it yesterday. I've been saying it all week. Doing things that like inspire you spiritually, that are spiritually inspiring to you, that are really like making the like magic associated with faith and spiritual belief and higher power and stuff like that as like palpably real for yourself and your experience as possible, this will be the very best way to stay on like the upper ends and the upper octaves of this particular Neptunian Piscean energy as it plays out. It's been a pretty rough week energetically. We've also had a Mercury Saturn square. I've been saying, you know, that really can like skew things to the negative, especially when we've got a Sun Neptune opposition too, which already has us in kind of maybe like a state of delusion, maybe feeling not good about ourselves. It can also bring up, you know, states of victimhood and just feeling like weak or vulnerable. So it may really have been a week where we've been like struggling to find the optimism or to find our faith. And that's why I've been saying, you know, with all of the strong Neptunian energy, if we can just really like dive head first into like the spiritual nature of things, or, you know, the higher power or the miraculous nature of God in the universe, like it's probably just gonna help keep our head maybe a little bit above water in this energy. This is a very like, you know, escapism tendencies, things to do with drugs and alcohol, things to do with illness and sickness. I've been saying all week in the eclipse situation going on, there could be like a more crisis-oriented nature to this. Again, we are still reverberating out from that eclipse energy, and whatever was going on earlier this week with that full moon might really still be like the primary focus. Friday, and especially as we move into Saturday as well. We don't want to make big decisions. We don't want to, you know, jump to conclusions or like make huge assumptions about things, or just allow ourselves to like totally go off the deep end on, and you know, for one reason or another. Things are like truly not as they seem right now. There's a distortion in the informational field. Everything is like a little bit skewed. It's really easy to get caught in some type of fantasy or some type of an illusion or some type of like just even as, you know, delusion or distortion or fog, not really knowing, you know, which way is up or what's coming next. That literally is just the nature of how this Sun-Neptune opposition could be affecting people. But as I said, this is changing as we move into the energy of Sunday, which again is that equinox energy. The sun leaves Virgo, moves out of exact opposition to Neptune, enters the sign of Libra, and this is going to shift things up a little bit, bring a bit of a vibe shift. But I will tell you guys, like, we do have that black moon south node conjunction in the sign of Libra. We are, as of Sunday, about to have the sun, and then right following that, Mercury, both entering the sign of Libra, and the new moon, I looked a little bit ahead at it, that's coming up in Libra. All the planets are in a conjunction with that black moon south node energy. So there really is like literally like no hiding from these endings and these changes that are coming, especially in the context of that Libra energy. This is feminine energy, okay? And with the black moon there, this is also toxic or distorted feminine energy that needs to be karmically released. This is also fears surrounding things to do with the Venus energy, comfort, security, pleasure, like being able to have what I want, to like get my desires met, to feel comfortable, to like have like peace and beauty. There's definitely like disturbances in the energy field that would represent peace, balance, harmony, you know, stability, okay? So we're moving, like, and it's clearly rippling from whatever's going on with this eclipse, which we know is all about ending necessary cycles, so that new cycles of actually, you know, a greater experience of fulfillment and purpose can come into our lives. Like, these are not necessarily like bad endings, or, you know, we're not like losing here. We're actually in a process of growth and gaining, but they do look like, you know, perhaps difficult endings that could really be like hitting us in the heart, you know what I mean, with all this coming up in the sign of Libra. But things are gonna, you know, and it's also being represented by this grand trine in earth signs that's going on. And we have Uranus in the sign of Taurus, you guys, like that's also representing the same energy. But I mean, come on, like Pluto 29 Capricorn, Uranus 28 or Taurus, and then the sun right here at the very last couple of degrees on Sunday also, I believe, for the equinox, or no, not for the equinox. On Saturday, right before the equinox, right, the sun will hit the last degree of the sign of Virgo, coming to that exact trine with Pluto. And we also, I told you that I would talk a little bit about the equinox chart as well, and I will as we get through this report, but Venus is at 29 degrees, the very last degree of her sign of Libra, and an exact square, cardinal square to Pluto at 29 degrees of Capricorn. We're dealing with a Pluto Venus square while we've got the black moon in the south node in Libra. And like as we start like our equinox chart, as the sun ingress into the sign of Libra, which is ruled by Venus, sun hits 0 Libra. Venus is at 29, very last degree of Libra. So we've got the sun and Venus totally like both critical degrees of the sign. Venus ruling that sign in an exact square to Pluto retrograde, the very last degree of Capricorn. And then we're about to have this Libra cycle come up where we've got all of these planets, sun, moon, Mercury, south node, black moon. After last time around with our Virgo new moon cycle, we had Venus, south node, black moon conjunction, and we're having our cardinal Libra cycle. Yeah, so we're just heading into what is undeniably going to be a time of things happening that may feel a bit out of our control in the context of necessary changes in relationships and financial situations, attachments, what we have been giving and receiving. Like there definitely needs to be some type of sweeping change in the context of reciprocity, giving and receiving, value, just like the give and take of things, and what is worth it and what is not anymore, and who we want to connect with and who we don't, and how we want to define ourselves and by what we want to define ourselves and what we don't, and how we want to present ourselves and how we don't. Okay, so there's that. All right, that's what we're going to be. I think that's, or at least that to me is what looks like the energetic focus is going to be gearing itself towards after we get through this weekend, or at least in, you know, terms of getting to this equinox energy on Sunday. Before then, it really is just sort of this lost in the sauce, fog of war. Nobody really knows. Nobody really knows what's going on type of thing. That, again, maybe is something that we've been dealing with all week. And it also is reminding me of this concept of hyper novelty that is also kind of like a key word associated with this energy or this period of time that we are moving into now, and like the breakdown in authority and like the breakdown in essentially like the foundations and just the ways that things have been done up until this point in time, which also, again, with all of this like Piscean energy, retrograde coming to the end, like Saturn retrograding in Pisces, Pluto at the last degree of Capricorn, the way that things have been done for a very long period of time, that's just not what's going to continue to go on anymore. So for better or perceived worse, you guys, this is where we're at. But even the perceived worse is really for the better. And again, the more that we can grab onto the invisible world and like make it a part of our reality, whether we can actually see it or not, infuse it with our soul, you know, the belief that the universe truly is conspiring in our favor, that magic and miracles are extremely possible for us, that we are the exception to every known rule, and that things just magically fall into place around us without much effort on our part, and we have everything that we need exactly when we need it. I really feel like that is, I mean, if Neptune, right, Neptune and the sun, if that's going to put us into a state of delusion, we may as well be in a state of delusion where everything is working for us. So that's really what I feel like, you know, we are moving through as we go through this weekend. Sunset on the toxic attachments and the things that steal our power. That's what I would define our equinox chart really by. The fall equinox, like I said, of course, you know, the sun moving to 0 degrees of the sign of Libra, but it's just, if you've been following along, you know how much like required change and release has been indicated to be happening in the sign of Libra in the context of the Venus energy. We've also got Uranus finishing up his transit of the sign of Taurus. That's the other Venus energy. Like, whatever is standing in the way of necessary and authentic growth right now, whether we can see it or not at this point in time, you know, like, that's just not what is written in the stars anymore. So we could be having to go through some heartbreak, I do think, coming up here, but transition, transformation, and growth is what is going to be the outcome of it. And I think that ultimately, in a lot of cases, I do think it's going to actually be our choice. And I think that we're actually going to decide, like, whatever benefit that we were getting out of something, maybe that we were attached to or committed to or just like invested in or defined by, again, or like just was a part of our lives and our identity and our security or our comfort or something like that for a very long period of time. We're going to like find for some reason that it's not worth it to us anymore. And, I do think we're going to be making the choice to kind of initiate a lot of these endings with this karmic cycle or cardinal cycle coming up, the Libra cycle, which is, again, like an action-oriented phase of initiating things. And also, it's interesting because for our equinox chart this year, the moon actually starts the day in the end of Taurus in a conjunction with Uranus, who's in that grand earth trine, right? Which is also indicating, you know, some sudden change for the purpose of removing blockages to authentic growth. But the moon then enters the sign of Gemini, right? Which is another air sign and forms an exact trine to the sun in the sign of Libra. So again, this is indicating a facilitation that this next 6 months or this equinox cycle, this period of time between equinox and equinox, is likely to bring. This is just the 0-degree Gemini moon trine the sun at 0 degrees of Libra. These are also ideas, like a lot of choices, decisions, changes, like lots of information too. We're talking about air sign energy by the sun and the moon. So how we're thinking about things, you guys, is likely to change a lot, and that is what with the trine energy is going to be facilitating or pushing for, or just like making things happen. Again, I feel like that are putting us in a place to like choose to end something so that we can actually either restore a sense of peace or balance that we realize has been lacking as a result of being attached to that thing, or so that we can begin something new or go through a new phase of growth or creativity that puts us back into a greater alignment with like our true and authentic self as well. Lots of changes though we're likely to see coming up in relationship and financial situations. Also, of course, things to do with resources, assets, material possessions. A lot of people are going to be, I feel like, letting go of a lot of material possessions and stuff like that that they may have held on to for a long time also. Sweeping change incoming is where it looks like we're going. And I mean, I've basically just been repeating that over and over throughout the course of this report here. Overcoming fears, though, choosing to let go. It's also, you know, we talk about the symbolism that we have coming in with the exact Sun-Neptune opposition on Friday. The sun will be at 29 degrees of Virgo in terms of the Sabian symbol placement. That is a man gaining secret knowledge from an ancient scroll he's reading. And then the position of Neptune at 29 Pisces, light breaking into many colors as it passes through a prism. This again is emphasizing to me the very like revealing nature of what's going on right now. Like maybe like, you know, in the talking about gaining wisdom from an ancient scroll he's reading. This is also, you know, looking at things from the past, perhaps from a different perspective or a different viewpoint. Light breaking into many colors as it passes through a prism, like seeing all the various layers and dimensions of things, maybe in a way that was like undiscernible to us before, or we didn't have the capacity to see or understand for some reason. Something could be very, very revealing about this period of time that we're moving through right now. And the things that are, remember the grand earth trine with Uranus and Pluto, that in earth signs, also in Virgo, that unearths things, secrets, hidden knowledge, what's been going on like in the murky shadows and under the surface of things, our own subconscious programming and shadow side issues, which have been so relevant right now as well, the fears that control and keep us trapped in these karmic cycles of like self-sabotage essentially, and not being able to get on track with like our true potential and our higher selves and like the path to this authentic organic growth that universe is like forcing us all on right now. Black moon and south node, new moon cycles that are emphasizing that energy. Okay, we are literally like purging some fears that have really controlled us and caused us to surrender power for external things that we thought we didn't have inside of us, but now we're about to discover that we don't really want anymore, because there's some shift in our awareness which is like uncovering some other value that is, or worth or something that actually is more important or more valuable to us or means more to us than whatever it was that we were like exchanging for before. And somehow this like rebalancing of the give and take of things and the connections associated with that, and what we are magnetizing also and attracting to our lives, and on the flip side of that, desiring as a result of that, that is what all of this Libra energy that we are moving towards, I think, is about to be kind of like focused around and rearranging, okay, in our lives. But as for now, and especially in the context of those particular placements and of the Sabian symbols associated with the Sun-Neptune opposition, you know, what is being exposed, what is being unearthed, and the breakdown also of illusions and misconceptions and fantasies, it may be bringing up more questions than answers in this energy. Because again, like this is a very, you know, could be confusing. You could really be questioning a lot of things here. But it's like realizing sort of also, you know, what's below the tip of the iceberg. Okay, we're like coming to see that there's actually a lot more down there, and the varying, as I said, you know, the light breaking into many colors as it passes through the prism, like the varying layers and dimensions that are there that we're realizing we can only see maybe when we look like in a certain way, or like through a certain lens of perception or something somehow. So again, my best advice for this period of time: rest, meditate, pray, visualize. Like this is a very, very good time to do like vision boards and stuff like that, to really gear your sort of unconscious, subconscious mind around like imprinting what you do want and desire to like manifest and move towards right now. Being around water can be beneficial when we have a Sun-Neptune opposition going on. Release, cleanse, surrender, these very like Piscean, Neptunian vibes, probably like helpful in this energy as well. Again, like Saturn retrograde in the sign of Pisces, Neptune ruling Pisces at the last few degrees of Pisces. Like there is a spiritual growth that comes through an ability to like really surrender the burden right now to the divine, with the faith, again, that things are working in our favor. The universe is conspiring to move everything around so that things like work out for us somehow, some way, in a way that is actually better than they were, even if at this present point in time everything seems impossible. It seems like the deck is stacked against us. Like we have to believe in the ability for universe to, you know, God has weapons that we know not of, you know what I mean? Like there are so many ways beyond our human conception that things can happen and things can go, and we have to allow the potential for that, and we really just need to try our best to maintain a hold of that, even if it feels like we're like hanging on to the tail of a thrashing dragon as we move through this energy, which is my little north node south node analogy pun right there, because the north node is known as the head of the dragon, south node known as the tail of the dragon, and we're moving into some pretty serious south node territory over this next couple of weeks following this weekend. So that's what I have to say today, you guys. I hope you liked it. Let me grab a synchronicity card. I'm gonna give us just a little bit of guidance, advice, God, universe, great spirit. what should we keep in mind as we move through this weekend, you know, as we do head into the energy next week? Again, we're going to be, and I'll be back to talk about it on Monday, you guys. We've got a week of shifting vibes coming up, and I'll be here to talk all about it. So you're going to not want to miss that. I got way too many cards that came out. I have to keep shuffling. So you may want to stay tuned to the astrology over this next couple of days, just because we got a lot going on. There's our card. It says, count on God. It's exactly, right? And whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. That's what I said, you guys. That's what we need to do. Psalms 1:3. Are you ready for it? You will prosper. You will grow and expand. The law of attraction is now working for you, and you attract all those who will help you in reaching your goals spiritually and materially. So again, you guys, like, this is where we need to find ourselves as we move through the weekend, especially if we find ourselves not being there. Okay, so count on God. Things are moving in the right direction. Difficult endings, yes. However, pressure makes diamonds, and we are diamonds, and we're becoming diamonds. And actually, now that I'm saying that, I'm also going to say the position of Mars on Friday, when we do have the exact Sun-Neptune opposition, is at 10 degrees of Cancer, a large diamond in the first stage of the cutting process. And that Mars energy, that's what's actively happening. So we are on our way, you guys, to become the brilliantly shining diamonds that we've always meant to be. And I'm gonna stop talking now. So I wish you guys a really beautiful weekend. I will see you back here next week. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends if you think that they would like this type of astrology content as well. Leave me comments, you guys. You know that I am so grateful for your presence here and for your contributions to my channel. I really, really value what you guys have to say. If you are having experiences that match up with what I'm talking about in these videos, please let me know in my comment section below. If you want to know what's on this whiteboard, I have a Facebook group where I post images of those linked in my description box. That's where you will find those. And yes, come back with me on Monday. As I said, we've got a week of some shifts and changes coming up as we reorient ourselves and gear ourselves towards this Libra cycle that is preparing itself to unfold before us. So I'll be back Monday. You should come too. You don't want to miss it. I will see you guys then. Have a really beautiful weekend, and until next time, bye guys.